Good morning. Welcome to the Salt Lake Center for Spiritual Living. Happy Sunday. Happy Valentine's Day. Love, love, love to all of you. Thank you for joining us on our love stream and here in person, safely social distanced, which is the strangest oxymoron I've ever heard of. So grateful to see some smiling faces here today, underneath your masks and otherwise. You have come to a beautiful place at a beautiful, perfect time. We have a wonderful service for you today. Some great music, which will start with our opening song, My Soul is Welcome Here, and so is yours. Let's sing together. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Good morning and happy Valentine's Day. My name is Shemaine Charette, and we're so happy you've joined us today at the Salt Lake Center for Spiritual Living. We are a community that teaches a philosophy for daily living based on spiritual principles and practices that are the common thread through many religions in the world. We honor all pathways by which people seek to know and connect with the divine, and we work on our individual consciousness to make the world a better place. We're currently open for live attendance with social distancing and masks worn at all time while in the building. And of course, we do continue to live stream every week on Facebook. Our practitioner holding high watch today is Jim Ferris. Throughout the service, he'll be holding a vision and prayer of the best and highest good that is unfolding as we share this sacred time together. Let's begin by affirming together our center's purpose, which you'll see on your screen. We are an open, welcoming community, celebrating our divinity, loving our humanity, and nurturing our journeys of spiritual discovery. If you'd like to learn more about our center or stay up to date with announcements, you can visit our website, which is at www.spirituallyfree.org. On the site, you can also submit a prayer request, sign up for our newsletter, and see upcoming topics, speakers, and musicians. The topic for February is One Journey, Many Paths. Our speaker today is local psychotherapist Kamrin Carver, and he'll be speaking on the infinite invisible. Next week, our speaker is Rob Ekman. I've got 5 quick announcements for today. They're all activities you can participate in, and links to participate are all on the announcements page of our website, spirituallyfree.org. Our Worldwide Centers for Spiritual Living virtual convention starts tomorrow. It's February 15th through 18th, and there's a great lineup of inspiring speakers and workshops. We're having an interfaith Taizé service. It will be live streamed on Sunday, March 7th from 6 to 7 p.m., and that will be live stream only. Our Taizé service includes prayer, readings, chants, and candlelight. This is our contribution to Salt Lake Interfaith Roundtable's celebration of Interfaith Month. And again, the Taizé service will be live streamed on our Facebook page Sunday, March 7th from 6 to 7 p.m. We have a weekly meditation and discussion in honor of the Season for Nonviolence every Saturday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time through April 4th. And that's on Zoom. Again, you find the link on our website. We also have our regular Zoom social every Sunday at 1 p.m., and our Wizards and Crones group meets via Zoom every second Tuesday at noon. And this is open to anyone wanting to connect with other spiritual seekers. Currently, they're studying world religions using the book 12 Major World Religions, The Beliefs, Rituals, and Traditions of Humanity's Most Influential Faiths by Jason Boyett. And once again, all the links to participate in any of these activities are on the announcements page of our website, spirituallyfree.org. Our center was founded on and is grounded in prayer, which helps us deal with whatever comes our way and create a positive experience regardless of our situation. Our professional prayer practitioners are trained in the art and science of affirmative prayer, and they are ready to pray with you. Just click on the link on our homepage and send a prayer request, and all of the practitioners will hold you in prayer all week long. Or if you'd like to connect personally, just let us know in your request, and a practitioner will call you, and you can be an active part of that prayer. Our prayer practitioner on the platform today is Teresa Martin. And now I invite you to settle in and allow Teresa and the band to take you to that sacred space within, with a reading, music, and prayer.
On account of today being Valentine's Day, I chose a piece by Maureen Moss called Commitment to Love. And this is as if the divine is speaking through me to you and to all of us. Beloveds, please open your hearts, open your minds, and let me introduce you to yourself. You are love. That is who you are. Speak it aloud. I am love. If you don't mind, will you give yourself a hug? After all, isn't that an appropriate greeting for a long-lost beloved? You may be meeting yourself properly for the very first time in your life. The love that you are has been aching to express itself ever since you were born into your current life. But it has been trapped under the piles of identities that you and others have given you. I am love. Breathe that in and say it again. I am love. You can never proclaim it enough. Every cell in your body surges with new life as you open yourself to the truth. Can you feel the sigh of relief from your soul? That part of you that knows your true identity and has longed for you to embrace it. Your proclamation may not have deep meaning for you at this time, but it will. And it will. Just be patient and don't turn away from it. Once you claim your original identity of love, you'll be taken outside of time and space of your narrow personal life to be connected with your eternal life and all of creation. The love that you are is what connects you to me. And that, beloved, is our connection. We are both love, and we are joined in your heart. It is time now in your current reality for you to rise and fuse us together as one, to ignite your remembrance of who you are. And so we can be together at last.
Blissful stillness, come to me. Blissful stillness, come. Hold me in your sweet silent embrace. Blissful stillness, come to me. Blissful stillness, come. Hold me in your sweet silent embrace. For there in the silence is peace, is joy, is vast, immense, immeasurable love. Immeasurable love. I call to my silent friend, my Lord, myself, my all. I call to that place within, wherein lies the key to freedom. Blissful stillness, come to me. Blissful stillness, come. Hold me in your sweet silent embrace. Embrace.
In that blissful stillness within, I go within and find that peace in the soul, in the center of my being. I find that oneness, that caring, that grace, that beloved that belongs in, within, and without. As the song says it all, that breath that I inhale and exhale brings me closer. That breath of life, without it, there is no life. So as that breath fuses itself into my being, and the stillness envelops me, there is power, there is beauty, there is love, there is harmony, there is wonder, and above all, peace. That peace beyond all understanding envelops me, as it envelops all who hear my voice right now. the voice of love, the voice of peace, the voice of oneness, as I speak my word for all, as we are one in everything. I let it be, as together we say, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Teresa. It was beautiful. I invite you to sing along with us again. This is our community song for this month. It's about being in the moment and feeling free in the presence. It's called Dance. And if you're at home, you can get up and dance.
You can
That'd be
get
awesome.
up
Yeah.
and dance here too.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Gonna go with the moment. I'm gonna feel so free. I'm gonna dance to the rhythm of the universe. I'm gonna lead my destiny. I'm gonna go with the moment. I'm gonna feel so free. I'm gonna dance to the rhythm of the universe. Gonna lead my destiny. I'm gonna dance. I'm gonna dance. I'm gonna dance to the rhythm of the universe. Gonna lead my destiny. I'm gonna go with the moment. I'm gonna feel so free. I'm gonna dance to the rhythm of the universe. Gonna lead my destiny. I'm gonna go with the moment. I'm gonna feel so free. I'm gonna dance to the rhythm of the universe. Gonna lead my destiny. I'm gonna dance. I'm gonna dance. I'm gonna dance to the rhythm of the universe. Gonna lead my destiny. I'm gonna dance to the rhythm of the universe. Gonna lead my destiny.
Yeah. Thank you for singing along. It's my privilege now to introduce our special music for today. This gentleman is just a spiritual force of good in this valley and all around the planet, in my opinion. Flute medicine. That's the essence of Mr. Dallas Brown. He owns many flutes, and he'll share this native flute music with us today. Just beautiful. Please welcome again, Dallas Brown.
Thank you, Dallas. That was lovely. It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today. Kamrin Carver is a local psychotherapist with a private practice here in Salt Lake, and he speaks all over the country on trauma, addiction, and the impact of mental health issues on individuals, couples, and families. And he's even been featured as an expert in documentary films. Kamrin joined the Salt Lake Center for Spiritual Living in 2004, and he has served as a practitioner, youth leader, and on our center's leadership council. He also officiates weddings and is the father of 3. And if you're lucky enough to know him personally as I do, I'm sure you'll agree with me that he walks through life with such grace and kindness that you just want to be around him to bask in his light. So please welcome a spiritual giant with a humble heart, Kamrin Carver.
Brought some tears to my eyes there, Shemaine. What was that? The best intro I've ever had. Can we get that transcribed, please, and given to all future introducers? All right. Hi, everybody. It's so much fun to see physical presence here. I got to tell you, as a speaker, I feed off of the energy that comes from the room. And when it's just, Shemaine and Rick in the front row, it's a little difficult sometimes. But they've carried the torch for you just fine, and I've appreciated all of that. But the burden is no longer, so we can release that. Wonderful. This month's theme, as you may or may not be aware, is feeling the divine. And the challenge to all of us becomes, how do we actually embody that experience versus just intellectually understanding it? I think so often, especially in this philosophy, it's really heady at times, right? We want to understand everything, the science behind it. It's that part of our brains that draws us to the philosophy in the first place. But the challenge here for us is to move from that head to the heart space, to understand how this embodiment changes us on very fundamental levels. I want to thank Linda and Shemaine for last week's experience. Shemaine, that song, I have listened to that so many times. And it's healing. Not only the message, but the music, and of course your voice. It was stunning. And Linda, what you talked about cleaning the slate, helping us to start over new and to allow for that energy to express through us, is perfect for what I can springboard off of today. I would like to welcome everybody who may be experiencing some not so good feelings on this Singles Awareness Day. I know that sometimes it's not always the greatest to wake up and realize that the whole world is in love and you're not. But I also want to acknowledge that some of us are very much in love right now, and we are enjoying the Valentine's Day celebrations and the people that we love and that are closest to us. And then, of course, there's everybody in between. But regardless of where we are and where we come to the table today, I would like to invite you at this time to just connect to love. My message today, the infinite invisible. I added the word love. Sorry, home office, but it's Valentine's Day, and I took artistic liberties with that. Because I think it's so important that not only are we acknowledging the infinite and invisible, but that we understand the correlation between love and God. I don't think there is a difference. At least when I talk about God, I'm talking about love. I see God everywhere. I see love everywhere. And when we think about this, it's really kind of fascinating to see into our own psyches and realize that the understanding we have of love would most likely be the understanding we have of God, and vice versa. And so if we want to know where we stand with either, we can go with the one we're most comfortable with and work backwards. But what we can see is that what we have done with our own experiences of love has shaped and defined us in ways that we may or may not be aware of. I've noticed that human beings in general have 3 basic ways of responding to love. There is the defensive way. I've been hurt, and therefore I'm angry, and I will attack it at all costs and make sure that it never gets close to me. There's the second way, which is, I don't really need love. Got this. We're good. I'm just going to pave my own way, go my own path, and be a hermit forever. And then there's those, or, we don't always have to be one or the other. Sometimes we flow in and out of different states too, right? So there's the state where we're emphatically in joy, and love is everywhere, and everywhere we look is beautiful, and the magic is just that pixie dust that falls from existence itself and shines light on everything we see. As I started looking at my own relationship to love in preparation for this message today, I saw something I didn't really want to see. And I'm not too proud of it, so I'm going to tell you about it. I've learned that if I feel shame, I talk about it, and it goes away. It's kind of cool. So my shame today is that, for me, love has been a transaction, a currency. It's something that I look out into the environment and see how much I can amass, or what can I trade for it. That was a sick thought. I would hate to think that that's how I was walking around life, but I can't imagine that I'm the only one. I can't imagine that if I'm feeling this, that someone else out there isn't, so I thought I'd talk about it and let you know that you're not alone. A lot of us walk around life feeling as if we are dry sponges and just looking for one drop of moisture from anywhere we can get it. Hallmark movies, our children, the teller at the grocery store, whatever it may be. Give me validation. Show me I matter. Let me feel loved. And then I started having the question, well, why is that? What creates that dry sponge state that makes us feel so desperate, wandering the earth as if we are hollow and directionless unless we are filled and sustained by others and their love. And what I saw was my own story, kind of, I guess I've made it up because I didn't have cognitive awareness at the time it was being created. When I was born, all right? And I know we don't remember when we were born, but I like to think that what happened to us around that time of our lives has affected everything from that point forward. And as a psychotherapist, I can draw many conclusions, both educated and hypothesized. But for me, I was born to two of the most popular human beings within the greater South Ogden area. The head cheerleader and the lead singer of a band. And at their points in time, that you just couldn't get cooler than that. When they got married, they had a line so long around the reception center that there were people who never even got to congratulate them. So I hear. So you can imagine that when I was born, that love was mine, right? I was the rightful heir to everything that they had amassed over their lifetimes. And I was surrounded, I was told, by so much love that I barely even got held by my own parents, because everybody wanted a piece of this royal lineage that they had created. My mom was the oldest of 6 children. My father was the youngest of 6 children. And guess where that put me? I was like the star coming onto the stage. So I imagine I had healthy attachments. I imagine that I went out into the world and trusted everything and everyone, because look at the abundance of love that was everywhere. And I attribute much of the development of my own personality to that. I really do. But you can imagine what happened to that poor little psyche of mine that thought the world was there for my own existence, as it slowly diluted. As all those people started getting their own families and having their own children. As my own parents started having their additional children. And all of a sudden, the concentrated experience of love that I had was now completely gone. And I was left alone. I believe on some level, we've all gone through that, right? Even if it was just with one person, our caretaker, that experience of my every need is being met, and oh my gosh, it's slowly being taken away, almost like oxygen's being sucked out of the room. Right? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And then we become frantic because we think it belongs with everyone else. We don't realize where it's really coming from. And that like pre-adolescent type of an experience on into our adulthood tells us we're helpless victims and we must rely on everything outside of ourselves. Our organization has a beautiful vision that it has shared with us, the evolutionary vision, which states, we see a world in which each and every person lives in alignment with his or her highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other, a world in which individually and collectively we are called to a higher state of consciousness and action. I just look at that and I see, well, if we are truly love, that is what we are going to be. That is the world we are going to create around us. That is what our organization has set out to ensure that we are a part of. Why isn't this changing? There we go. So, I would like to invite everybody to join with me and the organization as a whole in creating that first for ourselves, and then, of course, for the world at large. What greater definition of love could there be? It all starts with the love that we have for ourselves. When I work with anybody in my clinical practice, they walk in with a myriad of problems. It could be anything: anxiety, depression, trauma, addiction. And I see one problem. We don't know how to love ourselves. And my goal is to take whatever is in the way of that and whittle it down until we can start the actual work on the actual problem. Because everything else is a symptom of our lack or our ability to do that. And I think it's fascinating that love, being the most powerful force in the universe, has managed to be covered up by our egos. And I don't think our egos are necessarily more powerful than love, but I think they've done a much better job of convincing us that love doesn't exist. And we tend to believe. And I think the reason that we believe our egos when it speaks is because of pain. Egos exist because of pain. Their whole job is a protector. They want to make sure that we are the strongest, best versions of ourselves, and that they put up walls against anything that could possibly damage or destroy that. And so naturally, love, being open and expressive and vulnerable, is going to be attacked very often by outside elements that we'll have to protect ourselves against. And so that's, I think, the gradual undertaking that our souls go through when they're buried, because we're all born with that complete openness to life that I described my experience of being early on. So as we move through these painful life experiences, we have two choices. We can either let those experiences build us or break us. We know this. But there's a quote that I ran across that I think it describes it even better. And I don't like this. Let's try this one. Am I just not pointing it at the right place? There we go. Forgive those who didn't know how to love you. They were teaching you how to love yourself. And I love that so much, because when I start to think about why we let our egos cover up the love that we naturally are, it's because at some fundamental level, we expect everyone else to show us how valuable we are. We expect everyone else to show us that we can love ourselves and to give ourselves permission to do so. Life is really good at delivering the most amazing gifts in the most unappealing packages. We want a beautiful body, so life says, great, get yourself to the gym, bleed, sweat, cry, and then you'll have that beautiful body that you want. We say, I want to be a beautiful parent. I want to raise an amazing child. Life says, great. You get parents that are going to totally show you how not to do that. And then you'll have all of the experiences that you need to choose differently. So, this is still not working. Am I not pointing? Okay. Nope, I need a blank spot. There we go. So, what I would like to invite everybody to do in relationship to this knowledge is to make sure that we stay focused on learning what love is not, so that we absolutely can know what love is. It's not about amassing this victim mentality as if life is doing something to us all the time, but it's more about, okay, I want more of this and less of that. We can choose which direction we take that and what energy that we carry with us along the way. But what I've noticed is that as I've been successful in these endeavors, life merges. And the philosophy that we teach here so readily, that all is one, starts to become a lot more visible. Suddenly, conflicts with other people are now seen as conflicts within myself. Others and situations become mirrors for what's happening on my internal landscape. I get to see clearly how to fix what's going on with me because I want to naturally fix that about you. And then I automatically know that that's where my work is. In the book The Untethered Soul, I have learned so much about this principle. What it teaches within this book is how powerful that part of us really is and what happens when we surrender that power. We have all, I'm sure, been through horrific breakups that have completely destroyed us. The book outlines a story of a man who went into deep depression for weeks and couldn't eat or sleep and was totally destroyed by being left by his significant other. Only to have that person call and say, let's give it another go. And instantly, the energy returned, the light was back on, and everything that needed to be done was done. And the realization of the idea that I can turn that power on and off anytime I want. I choose to believe the lie that somebody else does that for me, but in all actuality, I'm the only one holding that key. I also want to point out that moms have a really bad rap when it comes to self-love. I am guilty of this just like anyone else, where my mother then becomes responsible for every experience that I've ever had in my entire life for some reason, right? Like, why is that? Poor mothers. I feel awful for you guys, but I don't know what happens neurologically. I don't think studies have been done on this necessarily, but that person that brought you into the world is literally responsible for your neurological makeup, right? Like everything. I'm sorry that that's the way that it is. I didn't make it that way. But the fact remains that we feel connected in ways to that person than anybody else that we'll ever meet or know. So that person sets the stage for how we will receive love, how we'll accept love. They're the template for everything, even if they weren't there when we were maybe adoption or we were raised by somebody else. That's still the template, right? My mother wasn't there, and so therefore love isn't there. So now we've got God, love, and mom that are all synonymous with one another. At some part of our psyche, at some level, we all have that basic fundamental connection. And it truly is universal. I'm actually very grateful for the template that my mother gave me, especially around this holiday. She made holidays so magical. I can still remember how those little red gummy hearts tasted that she would leave on my dresser with a little love note. I can still remember what her handwriting looked like when I would open my lunch and see her love note in there for Valentine's Day with a couple of those disgusting chalk hearts. And I still remember what it was like to go to school with my big box, remember when they put the envelopes in and we had decorated it the night before. I am grateful that I got that template. So now when I seek love in my life, I seek that. I seek stability, I seek clarity, and I seek something that I can rely on. Not everybody had that experience. And if you're one of those that didn't, be gentle with yourself. Imago modalities teach us that we are not seeking a partner that will somehow rescue us from all of our problems and take us into absolute bliss like Disney teaches us, but we are actually seeking out someone who makes us feel normal, which is the way we felt when we were with our primary caregivers. We're seeking out that feeling that existed there. And so when we experience relationship after relationship that tends to be the same, if we look back to our caregivers and we see what those relationships look like, we can then transfer that and say, oh, I bet this is why I keep pulling in this kind of person or that kind of experience of love. There is a lot of different definitions of love out there. And if anybody's studied another language, you know that other languages have this right. They use lots of different words to describe proper experiences of love, where the English language has one. And I think that does us an incredible disservice. There is the love of family, the love of friends, erotic love. There is, I like the obsessive love picture where he's like proposing marriage as he's grabbing onto her ankle. There's enduring love after you've been together for decades. There's self-love, and then there's selfless love. And if you look at all of these different kinds of love, look at how it expresses through you. And then you can kind of start to see what the philosophy of God is like. If we are all truly part of God and we are all God incarnate, and it's working through us at all times, look at how love works through you at all times. And that microcosm of the macrocosm becomes quite exciting and revealing. Now, as we move into this love that we have for ourselves, on the other hand, why do you think it's so hard to just love yourself? I mean, I watch people struggle with this all day long. I mean, this is all I do is like try to move the brain from hating itself to loving itself. And what I've learned over the course of time is that it's the voices that we hear. It's the cultural narrative that has been passed down to us. And I could talk to you about this all day long logically and, walk you through the mechanics of it, but I'm going to give you an experience of it. Exactly what I'm talking about here. All right? So let's say I'm giving this talk today and I stand up and I say, hey, I am the most amazing therapist you have ever met. I am the best father that there's ever been. And you know what? When I go out into the world, everybody lights up and they smile and they love when I'm around because I am just that good of a guy. Do you notice your feeling to that? Oh, what a bloody narcissist. Oh, I can't believe he's talking like that. Oh, he's so full of himself. On and on, right? I don't know if you actually felt that, but you might have. We in our society snuff that light out. We are like crabs in a bucket, and if someone starts talking like that, we'll throw diagnoses at them all day long to make sure that they get their butts back in their proper place, right? But look at how Shemaine just introduced me today. Anybody have a problem with that? No, because she was talking about me, so it's all good. But if I read that same thing she just read and was talking about myself, you'd think something a little different. Just guessing. Why, guys? Why? This is so dumb and so backwards. It doesn't make any sense why we attack self-love and label it in all of these horrible ways. And yet when somebody is like meek and timid and like, oh, yeah, I'm not that great. Yeah, and then we reward that and we put it up on a pedestal and say, everybody be like that. And then we wonder why we struggle with mental health. It just makes perfect sense to me. I have a philosopher that is in my life. His name is Kevin Little. He is one of my dearest friends, and we chat around the dinner table every now and then. And he said something to me that has changed my life at a fundamental level. He said, there's no problem that can't be solved by throwing more love at it. And he and I share very similar life paths. I took the Tasmanian devil route. I made chaos and destroyed everything along the way. And he took the more gentle, like, I don't know, Cinderella fairy, just glistening through life. And he's just been the solid version of love that I've always wanted to be. And as I've watched him live the same experiences I did, but with love, I can see the difference now. I'm like, oh, my life could have been so much easier if I would have done that. And I have a client, too, that had a son. He told me this story. These parents are the most amazing parents I've ever met in my life. And he heard the son crying, and they were fighting in the other room, him and his little sister, because he knocked down some of their Legos. So he runs in there, and he's like, what's going on? And the son, because he's been raised by two amazing, emotionally healthy parents, says, the mad part of me knocked those over, and was crying. And he's like, and now the sad part of me wishes he didn't. And the dad puts him up on his lap and holds him and is rocking. He's like, yeah, my sad part's been sad at what my mad part has done too sometimes. And he just sits there, and he doesn't say much. He just lets him cry. And then the son's like, my happy part's back now. Can I go? And gets off and runs out and plays. Can you imagine what our lives would be if we could deal with emotion that way? If we could love that way? I mean, transformational experiences await us when we allow for experiences like these. So, I don't know how many of you are familiar with this amazing woman, but she's one of my faves. Her name's Pema. Wait, did I miss a slide? Yes, I did. I'm sorry. So, when we're looking at like what stops us from being and expressing like that little boy, I love this quote by Rumi. Your task is not to seek love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers that you have built against yourself, within yourself against it. Yeah, right? Like, we're not here trying to find something that is outside of our reach. It's just like, why can't you see that it's right there? Why are you begging for somebody to give you a piece of their sandwich when you have a feast of your own sitting at your own table? It doesn't make sense when you look at it that way. But if you look at this list of barriers that are possibly covering up your experience of that feast, it starts to become clear why we haven't been able to necessarily let that go. The compassion that comes when we remove these barriers is something that Pema Chodron does a really good job helping us to move through. And she has a story. I don't know how many of you have done any YouTube searches on her, but she has some really good ones out there. And I would highly encourage you to find the one that I'm going to talk about today, where she talks about attachment. And what she describes attachment like is a wonderful walk through the woods. You see beautiful flowers. You may run across a tree that gives you shade, and you may see a beautiful deer that just crosses your path. All beautiful parts of what are making that moment special for you. And for whatever reason, attachment comes in and says, I need to pluck that flower and put it in a vase in my house. I need to cut that tree down and make a table of it so that I can eat with my family. I need to cut that deer's head off and put it on my wall so I can see it forever. Why do we do that? It's so fascinating because we do this exact same thing with relationships. As soon as we decide we like someone, we immediately strip them of all of their abilities to be individuals, and we tell them, guess what? I love you so much that I'm going to now make you responsible for all of my emotional well-being. And here's a list of how you're going to do that, and if you don't do that, you will be punished. Because I love you that much. Joel Goldsmith encourages us to take on the life of a mystic, much like the painter or the dancer is able to embody their craft. And when we separate from attachment, we're able to do that. The mystic is merely a master over love. And the mystic wields love as these other artists wield their craft. We all have the ability to be mystics. We all have that ability to remain unattached from situations and relationships and people in our lives. Because when we do, love is all that's left. When we don't, we suffer. Now, we've discussed a lot of, how the problem has developed, how it's maintained itself, but we don't really talk much about the solution and how to get out of it. And when we do, it sounds a lot like this, right? Self-care, self-love, all of the things that we're all aware of that go into loving ourselves and building out that part of who we are. But love and self-care have a dark side too. As Linda talked about last week, getting involved in therapy, doing your own inner soul work, that is not an easy task. That hurts, and it's painful to face your demons. And it's hard to look shame in the face and say, you will not rule over me anymore. Those things are not easy to do. And so when we talk about self-care, remember, it's not just all of that bliss and loveliness that was in that slide. There is some serious work to be done in order to care for our souls. I would like to invite everybody to embody these concepts as they've been described today, like this month's theme is helping us to do. And I've got some ideas. You may think they're silly, and I don't really care, because they work. And the only part of you that thinks they're silly is the part of you that doesn't want to get better, okay? The part of you that will think these ideas are silly is the part of you that needs you to believe your ego is protecting you from a real threat, when it's really just a big, soft, cuddly teddy bear, and not the Jabberwocky that is waiting to devour you, like we think love is a lot of times. The ideas that I think and have seen work so well when I talk to people, some of my clients, when they get divorced or they are just, trying to revive their dating lives, will have the same horrific experiences, right? Dating is awful. I mean, you have to go through a sea of sand, right? Picking each individual grain up and deciding, is this the one I'm going to spend my whole life with? And it's exhausting. But what I make sure that people realize is that until you learn how to date yourself, how are you ever going to know how to date someone else? So I propose that you start courting yourself. I propose that you start taking yourself out on dates, that you start putting rose petals on your own bed, and that you start wrapping gifts and writing cards to you. I propose that you download apps or Google all the questions that you ask on a first date, and then journal your answers to those questions. And if you want, this book is so amazing. I don't know if you can scroll into that video, people. But this All About Me book, you can just get it on Amazon. If you really sit with it and take time, it'll take you a minute to get through it. But it's an amazing adventure into your psyche and into yourself. And it does help you love yourself a lot more. As I was preparing this talk, I had the most amazing idea that I'd never had before, which is why I love giving talks so much at this center, is because I get to see all the wonderful ways that I'm a hypocrite and how I can get up here, talk about all these great principles and how I am not living them at all in my personal life. But this one, I decided that I would, and I am taking myself on my first solo vacation. And I don't know, those of you that saw my post on Facebook, I listed this whole list of things that my vacation had to have in it. And I didn't realize until a month in of looking at hundreds of locations and watching YouTube videos that this was a dream that I made when I was a version of myself that no longer exists. And I had to scrap that whole thing and find a vacation that fit who I had become, not who I thought I was. And by the way, I found it. If you want to know where to go, where the whole world thinks you should go, it's St. Lucia. It's the Turks and Caicos, okay? That's what everybody told me to do. If you want to know where I chose, it was St. Lucia's. So save yourself a bunch of time. Those are the two places. One, you can go for like tropical paradise and just be lazy and do nothing all the time and be treated like a god. And the other one is true soulful work. Sometimes you need one, sometimes you need the other. Now you can benefit from all the hard work I did. All right. Okay, I'd like to invite anybody up to the stage now that's going to help me out with this meditation, because I love it when you guys play beautiful music when I do this stuff. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to take everybody back to that slide that had, remember, all the different ways that we express love. And I would invite you to go back to that. You know, what is it like to experience so many different kinds of love? Now, what I want you to do is imagine yourself in the center of all of that, with all of those experiences being on the outside. And then take yourself into the inverse of that relationship and look at yourself through the eyes of everyone else who's in relationship to you. What's it like to be your own sibling, your own parent, your own friend, your own romantic partner? What do they see when they look at you? When they call you up on the phone, what energy precedes that call? When they see you walk into a room, what lights up inside of them? When your child looks up into your eyes, what's the experience of themselves that they get to have? And when your love glances over and sees themselves in your soul, what is reflected back to them? What is it like to have you in existence with another? What expectations do they have of you? And what expectations do you have of them? Pull up a friendship. Pull up a family member. Pull up a time when you felt playful and fun. Even play around with the obsessive part of you, that part that expresses itself as enduring or erotic love. And sit with each of those parts for a minute and feel that balance on the scale. How much am I giving? How much am I taking? And how do I want that scale to reflect in my future? Where can I give more? Where can I take less? And allow yourself to truly embrace the reality as you see it. Set those goals, make those intentions, and allow yourself to be a better version of you than you ever thought possible. And now I'd like to take you into a spiritual mind treatment. So if you could all please join me in that oneness of God. Get clear, feel yourself opening to the oneness of life, seeing God in everything that is around you, knowing that that life exists in you and as you, as all things expressing in your experience. See the nature of reality as it unfolds to you. And know that you are part of something much bigger than your mind will ever understand. A love that permeates, a love that creates and nurtures. You are that. You are everything you have ever wanted from another, and you are more than you can possibly imagine. Opening to this experience and expression of ourselves, we claim a life of goodness, of joy, of connection. We release and let go of all the pain and frustration related to believing that we were anything else. We stop seeking for that which we already possess. And we embrace a reality that allows us the freedom to let go, to relax into so much more, and to finally rest from the struggle. We embrace a world that is kind and that reflects back the kindness that we give to ourselves. We celebrate love and we let it in. We see it for what it is and not for what we have been told that it is. And we surrender all that we thought we were, all that society has told us we had to be, and instead we embrace the magnificence that we know we always are. And as we join with this force, we give our gratitude to it for the vision, the perspective, and the clarity which we now hold. We release it, knowing that our words have been spoken, our intentions have been received, and our creation is done. And together we say, and so it is.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I give. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Thank you, Cameron. I just really feel that we are all so blessed to have you here speaking with us. And all those lessons, my. So now is our time of conscious giving, which in this center is a spiritual practice. And we do this consciously for our spiritual well-being. We recognize that blessings come as the divine flow of abundance, and as we give, so that we shall receive. So with this attitude, we participate in that flow by sharing our good in our spiritual center. We compassionately understand that some are experiencing changes, and this is not easy. And for those of you who are able to contribute, we offer thank you and are so grateful for you. We appreciate your financial support during these so uncertain times. You may continue to give via automatic withdrawal as a text to give, which is on our screen. If it's not on our screen now, it will be on our screen. But you can simply donate through our website at www.spirituallyfree.org. So now, I invite you to bring your gift to your mind and heart, and feeling the truth of the words that we speak in our giving affirmation. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Filled with gratitude, I let this be, and so it is.
All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me. I've been set free, I'm released. I've been set free, I'm released. The burden of my past has gone away at last. I've been set free, I'm released. All that I need comes to me.
All that I need.
All that I need comes to me. The light of love and grace shines upon my face. All that I need comes to me. All that I need comes to me.
Let's bring up Dallas Brown, have some more flute medicine. Yeah, take it in. Can I be a part of your flute medicine more often? Mr. Dallas Brown, thank you. Thank you, Kamrin, for a wonderful message. I've got some work to do. I've got some homework to do. So our service has come to a close. Feel the love. Take it home with you. Live it through the rest of this week. I met some wonderful new friends here, Kathy and Colton, and wonderful young people who showed up today for the first time. If you have a chance, safely go and greet them and say thank you for coming. They're delightful people. Have a blessed Valentine's Day. And Kamrin, you gave some great suggestions for some really good homework. Our commitment to love ourselves more and then feel that, embody that, and so it's so fluently expressed in all that we do and all the service that we can give to our world.
I just want to know, if you take yourself on a date, can I come too?
Sometimes. Definitely today. Yeah. Setup. That was a setup.
Can I come too?
Awesome. All right, let's sing our powerful closing song. Holy, holy, holy ground. Rock it up, get up and dance. Have a blessed week, everybody. 1